Is the transracial movement racist? That's my question. And I'm basing this question off of some comments that I received on a video I recently made called Why the Transracial Movement Doesn't Bother Me, which means someone's born one race but identifies as another. So that was the video. I feel it was a very neutral response to it. My response was basically, it doesn't bother me, it doesn't affect me. If that's what they want to do, if that's how they want to identify, it doesn't affect my life, fine, let them do it. Even if I think it's kind of weird or crazy or silly, whatever, my opinion of it is irrelevant. My opinion of what they choose to do and how they choose to identify, my opinion of that, irrelevant. That's what I feel. But I got some comments who, we see a theme here, and I feel like addressing that theme because I think we need to further discuss this because it sheds light on, as society, how society feels about transracial movement. I said I'm neutral on it. I'm saying let them do what they want to. But how does society deem it? Does society deem the transracial movement as racist? Which would be very interesting because, this is the age of social justice warriors. So because of that, anything that resembles racism at all, we want to shed light to it. We want to get rid of that. We don't want that to happen. And then we've got this whole thing, also with homophobic mindsets that, well, it's not cool to say anything at all against someone's sexual orientations. So we're protecting those people as well. We're protecting people from, racism the best we can. We're social justice warriors for that. That's part of the American culture specifically right now. Over Twitter, that's what you see, right? So this is kind of complicated because now we've got this one movement who's saying, we identify as a different race than we were born. Because it resembles a little bit the transgender movement, right? That you're born one gender, but you identify as another, or you become another, or however it works, and I'm probably even using the word wrong. But we can see some similarities. You're born one way. You're born with one label, one even maybe scientific label, but you identify as another. You're born a male, but you now identify as female, or vice versa. Or you're born of European descent, but you're now identifying as Asian. So there's a lot of similarities there, but the irony is that we're saying, well, but that's racist. So overall, it seems society is becoming more accepting of the fact that you can be born one gender, but become another one, or identify as another one. That is now being protected by social justice warriors. But are transracial people, are they being protected by the same social justice warriors? I think that's really what I'm getting at. Let me read these two comments to further illustrate how people feel. So Arthur Hull, who's becoming one of the most active commenters on my channel here, here's what he said, quote, "The transracial movement is racist. It's appropriating another's culture. It's BS when people like Rachel Dolezal identified as black when she's clearly part Czech, given her last name. Or you can use the more reliable DNA test method and take an admixture test. If Rachel Dolezal took an admixture test, the results would probably come out as Eastern European, Finnish, Scandinavian, British, and Irish. This is just like when white people in Mediterranean claim to be indigenous when convenient, while claiming that they are white. This scams and hurts people who are actually indigenous. If it doesn't show up on the admixture test or the data analysis, you are not, all caps, that ethnicity, so quit claiming it. Also, libertarianism, which I'm claiming to be a libertarian, is also racist. It has a racist undertone in it. Another slightly accurate way to look up last names in your family. I'll kind of end there. So he definitely feels it's racist, it's doing a disservice to people who are actually of a certain ethnicity. As far as this transracial movement. Another comment I received was from Lynn G. I think she's commented before, quote, "I don't agree with transracial people identifying with an identity that is not part of their identity. I feel they are deceiving themselves. Many people get upset because those people didn't grow up and live as part of that ethnic background. Rachel Dolezal, I'm probably saying it wrong, is one person that does this, claiming she feels black but is actually white. I understand some people identify as part of an ethnicity if they were told that during their life, or they never knew their dad and their mom is telling them what they are based on what they think their father is. I wouldn't have a problem with that. But someone pretending they're another ethnicity seems to me fake. I think people like that have an issue accepting who they are, or they don't like the nationality they were born into, end quote. So, both of these comments, I think they're legitimate. And I treat these comments with respect. Because for me, this particular video about the transracial movement is not a video about my opinion on it. I've already made that video. This is a follow-up video. And in this video, we're simply discussing how society is viewing the transracial movement. And then with that, I'm throwing in the wrench saying, there's some irony here. There's a paradox here. Social justice warriors protect people against racism the best they can. And they protect people against being, treated badly because they're homosexual or transgender or there's protection for those people. We're here to protect people from being discriminated because of their race, their ethnicity, their sexual orientation. Those people are protected. But suddenly it seems like mainstream society is not willing to protect transracial people, and actually saying that they themselves are racist if they are not identifying as their true race, that itself is racist. So my point of this video really is that it appears society is not, as a whole, is not willing to embrace transracial people. So guess what? If you identify as homosexual, society embraces you. If you are born one gender but now identify another, or even become another gender through surgery or hormones, whatever, guess what? We embrace you. We as a society embrace you. But if you're born one ethnicity or race and identify as another, not only do we not accept you, but we say that you're a racist, which will protect all those other things, but now we're lumping you in the thing that we're protecting against, which is racism. I think that in itself is pretty fascinating because we're seeing such an obvious paradox. So are social justice warriors willing to protect the transracial movement is really the fundamental question.